Your phone wakes you up, your laptop helps you work, your apps guide your decisions. You rely on them without thinking twice. They feel predictable, controlled, safe, but that relationship is starting to change. And in the future, you might not fully trust your own devices anymore. Not because they're broken, but because they're becoming too intelligent. And once that happens, the line between tool and decision maker starts to blur. For years, devices followed a simple rule. They did exactly what you told them to do. You tapped a button and something happened. You opened an app and it performed a specific function. Everything was direct, predictable, and controlled by you. But now devices are starting to act differently. They suggest, they predict, they decide. Instead of waiting for instructions, they anticipate what you want. They recommend actions before you ask. In some cases, they take actions on their own. At first, this feels helpful. Your phone suggests replies. Your email filters messages. Your Maps app reroutes you automatically. Your assistant organizes your schedule. These are small conveniences, but they represent a much bigger shift because your device is no longer just executing commands, it's interpreting your intent. And interpretation introduces uncertainty. You don't always know why it made a certain suggestion. You don't always understand how it reached a decision. And sometimes you're not sure if it's right. That's where trust starts to weaken. Because trust depends on predictability. And intelligent systems are not always predictable. They're probabilistic. They make decisions based on patterns, data, and assumptions. And that means they can be wrong, confidently wrong. The second reason trust may decline is transparency. In traditional software, you could see how things worked. You clicked a button, followed steps, and got a result. The process was visible. But with AI-driven systems, much of that process is hidden. Decisions happen inside complex models. You see the outcome, but not the reasoning. This creates a black box effect. You're using something powerful, but you don't fully understand it. And when you don't understand something, it's harder to trust it, even if it works most of the time. Then there's the issue of control. As devices become more autonomous, they start to take over tasks. They manage notifications, filter information, prioritize content, automate actions. And while this reduces effort, it also reduces direct control. You're no longer making every decision. The system is making some for you. And that raises a question. Who is really in charge? If your device decides what messages matter, what information you see, or what actions to take, your role changes. You move from being the operator to being the overseer. And that shift can feel uncomfortable because you're no longer fully in control. Another major factor is data. Modern devices rely heavily on personal data to function effectively. They learn from your behavior, your habits, your preferences, your history. The more they know, the better they perform. But that also means they have access to a detailed map of your life. And that creates risk. What happens if that data is misused? What happens if it's exposed? What happens if the system uses it in ways you don't expect? Even if the device itself is secure, the perception of risk can affect trust. Because the more a system knows about you, the more power it holds. There's also the issue of influence. As devices become more intelligent, they don't just assist, they guide. They recommend what to watch, what to buy, where to go, even how to respond. And over time, those recommendations can shape behavior. Subtly, gradually. You may think you're making independent decisions, but your options are being filtered and presented by a system. And that raises another question. Are you choosing or are you being guided? That ambiguity can make people uneasy because it challenges the idea of control and independence. Then there's the possibility of errors at scale. When a traditional device fails, it's usually isolated. A bug affects one function. A crash affects one app. But when AI systems fail, the impact can be broader because they're connected to multiple parts of your digital life. A mistake in one area can affect others. And when systems become more autonomous, those mistakes can happen without immediate awareness, which makes them harder to catch. All of this leads to a new kind of relationship with technology, one that's more powerful, but also more complicated. You rely on your devices more than ever, but you understand them less. You benefit from their intelligence, but you question their decisions. And that creates tension. because trust is no longer automatic. It has to be earned, maintained, continuously reinforced. That's why companies are starting to focus on explainability, transparency, and user control. They know that if users don't trust their systems, adoption slows down. So they're trying to build systems that are not only intelligent, but also understandable. Systems that can explain decisions, offer control when needed, and operate within clear boundaries. But this is still a work in progress, because the more advanced these systems become, the harder it is to make them fully transparent. And that's the challenge: balancing intelligence with trust, automation with control, convenience with clarity. So when you think about the future of tech, it's easy to focus on what devices will be able to do. Smarter assistants, better automation, more seamless experiences. But the real question might be something else. Will you trust them? Because as devices become more capable, they also become more independent. And when something starts making decisions on your behalf, even small ones, it changes the relationship completely, from tool to partner. And trusting a partner is very different from controlling a tool. So the future of technology won't just be defined by intelligence, it will be defined by trust, and whether users feel comfortable relying on systems they don't fully understand. Because if that trust breaks, even the smartest devices in the world won't feel safe to use.